Hey, one thing real quick. I just recorded this whole video that you're getting ready to watch, and I forgot to say the one thing that was in my head. Call the Capitol switchboard. 202-224-3121. The number will be up for the entire video. This is how we pressure Democrats to do the right thing. This is how we organize in the absence of their actual leadership. Now, on to the video. Tomorrow is not a technical State of the Union address. It's the presidential address every year because it's not, he hasn't been in office for a full year. He doesn't get to talk about, or it wouldn't be appropriate for him to say, this is the State of the Union and it's strong under all of my leadership, since it's only been since January 20th at noon. There's a lot of strategy questions being bandied about how Democrats should handle this. Should they show up? Should they show up and leave? Should they just not show up at all? What should we do here? I'm a little torn on what I think. I definitely think that the tack that has been taken by Democrats as a party right now, as elected officials, has been weak, has been ineffective, is not working. They are not an opposition party. You've heard me yell about it and scream about it for a while now. And it's just becoming more clear that the people in charge aren't ready for prime time. They're not ready to actually be in opposition to Donald Trump. They want to scramble and try to find places that we can work together with fascists. Here's a headline from Politico, just the headline. Democrats plan a different kind of response to Trump's big speech. Their less pugilistic approach is the latest sign the party is still coming to terms with how to confront the president. And in this article, they quote Amy Barra. He's a congressman, I believe, from California. They quote Don Beyer, somebody from Northern Virginia right here, who represents a lot of in jeopardy and already fired federal workers. He's not showing up. He's going to do the right thing, I think. But I'm not just going to give my opinion here. I'm going to play a short clip from Jamelle Bouie, who is a New York Times columnist and a rising star on TikTok. And I think he just started a YouTube channel. We'll put the screenshots up. I'll have to go get them, but we'll put those up and I'll put links below. I would recommend you follow this guy, Jamelle Bouie. Brilliant. He is somebody I go to get a more fulsome picture from a viewpoint of history and a lens on exactly just a wider profile of what takes place in politics, in and around politics, the electorate, our history, just everything. He's just, it's very, very good. You will be cheating yourself and missing out if you don't follow this guy. Also, he writes for the New York Times as a columnist, not as a reporter. I can't say enough. He's fantastic. So do yourself a favor and go do that. He describes what his strategy would be. He says a couple of times, I think, that nobody's asking me, but this is what I would have everybody do. Kind of the same role I'm in here. And I'm torn. I don't know if his position is the right one or whether it be just don't show up I think he says don't show up. And I don't know if that would be the right thing or maybe just adjacent to that, just a derivation of that to be you show up and then you just, in an orderly way, stand up and then single file line, everybody leaves kind of as a fuck you to Donald Trump. And this isn't just to get under Donald Trump's skin or this is to signal we will not participate in fascism. We will not be a party to you destroying the country, to you ending democracy. We won't be party to it. We are a co-equal branch of government, and we will oppose your efforts. Seems reasonable, does it not? Instead, what the plan is from leadership in the House, is to show up and we're going to bring some guests. And then everyone will know. No one will know who your guests are because Donald Trump is the bully pulpit and the microphone, and he could point around to his guests and talk about the different policy things. It's so short-sighted. It's alarmingly short-sighted. So anyway, let's listen to Jamelle Bouie give his ideas. I'm going to throw it to you. I really do want your opinion about it. And then let's work through it on the other side of him talking.
So on Tuesday, the president will address a joint session of Congress, a term of art for the president's first State of the Union, not technically a State of the Union, so that's why we call it that. And in any case, there's this question of what Democrats are going to do. Now, Speaker Jeffries and I believe Chuck Schumer have suggested that Democrats attend and they bring the victims of the administration's illegal and unconstitutional assault on the federal administrative state, kind of dramatize it that way. But I don't think that's really going to dramatize anything. It's actually kind of routine. It's a routine thing for the opposition party to attend these things and then bring people they feel are affected by the policies of the administration. It's very standard. That's not going to get anyone's attention. And the name of the game is attention. The name of the game right now is how do you capture the attention of the public, because the public's attention is divided. There's not really a captive audience anymore. You have to find ways to make a splash. And this suggestion isn't going to make a splash. What will make a splash, and what I think Democrats should do, no one's asking me, but I'm going to say it anyway, I think Democrats should just not go. In fact, I think they should tell the press and tell Republicans that they are going to attend, but that I don't think a single one of them should attend. I think they should only it should be a Republican affair. That would dramatize. They should make it clear that we're not attending because this administration is behaving illegally and unconstitutionally. We're not attending because it's not even clear Trump is the president right now. It really seems to be the case that Elon Musk is the president. And in addition to not attending, they should hold a separate event where then they can dramatize the effects of this. And they can talk about the fact that the administration is cutting things like the National Weather Service, National Institutes of Health, National Science Foundation, the Social Security Administration, the Veterans Administration. They can talk about the many, many ways that the administration is taking an axe to services that Americans depend on, as well as talk about the fact that the administration is engaged in a horrible assault on diversity and integration in the federal government and in the private sector as well. Do that from their separate event where they're not attending this thing. I think that might draw some attention. I think that might dramatize things a bit. The other thing I'll say here is that for the first 120, 130 years or so, I don't have the exact dates in front of me, the State of the Union was kind of just a slip of paper the president presented to Congress. All this pomp and circumstance is relatively recent, and I think it's actually a bad thing. I've never been particularly happy about the pomp and circumstance of this. It makes the president the focal point of the American system when the president really isn't. So I think not going will also just emphasize that, listen, in this game, we're equals, Congress and the president. We're not going to pretend like this is the king and that we have to be there and that we have to obey.
I tend to strongly agree. And also, let me say this about Jamel Bouie. Jamel Bouie's not some uber leftist bomb thrower, some dissension sower. Jamel Bouie is a moderately spoken, clear, giving credence to both sides of issues kind of guy. He's not an ideological purist or extremist in the slightest. I often find my opinions moderated by his. So he's not coming at this from a scorched earth kind of perspective. I don't think. I don't know Jamel, so I don't know. But all of the content that I've consumed, be that his columns in the New York Times or on his TikTok and now Instagram and YouTube, he doesn't appear to be that guy to me. But I 100% agree, and I wonder what you think. To do something that is routine on the part of Democrats, like go and bring your guests and whatever, there's nothing routine about the moment we find ourselves in our history. This isn't a routine moment, and it takes not routine actions on the part of the opposition party to make a change. It's going to take more than throwing moderate Alyssa Slotkin from Michigan out there to handle the response. No? Or are we in routine times and just it's business as usual? I guess that's the question. What would you have Democrats do? Am I wrong here? Look, I'm open to being wrong. It's happened thousands of times. Let's have a conversation about it. We can do that in the comments below. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054, or you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. Let's get into this. If you want to help support this work, I would appreciate that very much. You can click the join button below after you subscribed, which is free. You can click the join button, become a channel member for $1.99 a month, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. I'm on the social media just about everywhere, not active on the Nazi Twitter, but everywhere else, you can find me at Dollemore. I'd love to see you there. And I will see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.